Welcome back, everybody, to the last game of the night. LGD versus HGT. Game 1 started off looking really good for HGT, who ran an aggro tri-lane, dominated the first 20 to 25 minutes of the match, but ended up dropping it still up against LGD's superior late game. And that gives me a lot of confidence to see that 2-0 for LGD, but we'll see what happens. Let's jump into the draft, shall we, and welcome in my co-caster, Blaze, is going to be joining me once again. Blaze, this time around, it's going to be a little bit normal. Or at least for me anyway, when it comes to talking about the Western games, SF, Sniper, Troll, Juggernaut, every single game. We're starting off this draft. It's looking a lot more normal, at least the opening here. Sniper versus SF mid, two of the strongest supports in the meta. Nothing too special like the kind of funky aggro try that HGT ran.
Yeah, that was really unique. The Wisp, Sand King Lina, you don't see that every day. But they're banning up the Wisp here, and that is going to be really setting up LGD for a potential 2-0. Like you were calling it earlier, I thought HGT would catch them off guard with the first game, but man, Siler's late game, and really the ability of LGD as a team to hold together. Like under stress, under pressure, they've just gone through some amazing strides, and now without the Wisp, they're relying on the Lion Earthshaker. I'm sensing probably an Axe pick here for their fourth, just to get that kind of AoE clustering activity. That or a Darkslayer would be awesome. But yeah, they'll be able to really combo up their abilities. They have some great team fight, but they have to make sure that they make the right rotations in the laning phase.
Have you seen the Darkseers that have been picked up recently in the Western scene with the Spiritbreaker and Darkseer duo?
Yeah, especially if you can get to that Aghanim stage. It's just incredible.
It's pretty insane, man. The CIS scene is pulling out some crazy stuff lately, and it's a lot of fun to cast, that's for sure.
So all you have to do is just surge the Spiritbreaker, and then you get all the attack damage in the world.
Yeah,
it's unstoppable.
And then what do you do? Like, both Darkseer and Spiritbreaker are tanky as hell. Like, They double Ion Shell. Like, if you have any melee heroes, they simply cannot fight at all in the early laning stage. So, LGD
Darkseer reduced by 1 armor. So that's how you deal with it.
So, LGD, they banned away the Clockwork and the Spiritbreaker in the second banning phase. Tidehunter and Razor were taken out by HGT this time around, so no Razor. But we could still see a potential, if they really want to see some Deathball, a one-position Viper on either side. Or maybe even they put, like, HGT, put the Viper mid up against Sniper instead of SF. Now, in your experience, Blaze, we've seen a lot of SF versus Sniper mids. It seems like it goes pretty heavily the way of the Sniper. I have seen the occasional, like a really good SF player still manage to win with the Wraithband build, but it seemed like, at least for a period of time, for about a week, it was kind of the flavor of the week that SFs were going bottle first. Quick bottle in order to just spam out raises versus a Sniper. Which one do you think is really better?
I think the raise play is definitely the way to go. You're not. I mean, you can technically win with just the stats build and the going for the CS aspect of it, but overall, you're not like the better animation of the Sniper. You're going to have a lot of issues, and honestly, you have to stay back, because if the Sniper catches you out in the river and gets that shrapnel off, Avenge runs in with a smoke, that Shadow Fiend is dead. Even if you try to counter run with the Earthshaker, it's very difficult to try to fisher out the enemy when they have the shrapnel vision of the high ground, and Sniper can still hit halfway across the map. It's really just, it's better for Shadow Fiend to stay back, to raise out the waves, and then have a better itemization build for farming the jungle up, because I honestly think the lane is a bit of a wash, but if you can still stack like crazy for him, he can overwhelm the Sniper that way. But I don't know. I'm really not confident in the Earthshaker Lion against Sniper in general. Like, I like the ability to hit him at long range, but that's usually after the Blink Daggers. You can fisher him at long range and maybe hit a couple of raises, but as far as catching him on the river, which is what Earthshaker traditionally does, you're not going to be able to do that against a hero like Sniper.
Right. So now the Bristleback pickup from LGD gives him a nice frontline hero in order to draw some attention to himself. And a Bristleback is kind of like the perfect hero for that. Clockwork is very disruptive in that regard, but Bristleback's one of those heroes you kind of like need to address in some regard, especially if he has a good laning phase start, because you can't afford to just lit the Bristleback. You can't just run past him and be like, let's go for the Sniper, guys! And the Bristleback just gets more quills, more physical damage, and really starts tearing it up as the fight kind of prolongs. So he's definitely a hero you have to deal with in some way, whether it's using your disables or just trying to pop him first or what have you. So I love to see Bristleback and Sniper paired up together. This also gives them a Roshan advantage as well on the Dire side with that viscous nasal goo, a strong possibility that LGD, if they win the laning phase, will be able to transition that into an early Roshan. Slark, though, is picked up now by HGT, another good initiating hero that we've seen a lot more Shadow Blades than Blink Daggers lately, but either way, a lot of mobility for the Slark to be able to get to the Sniper, and generally big sustain heroes like Bristleback and Axe have a hard time versus Slark.
Now, my question for you is, why wouldn't HGT go for the 4th pick on Axe here? They're up against a Bristleback, so they can control which way he's facing. Sniper builds attack speed, so he's going to be triggering a lot of helixes, and you want to be right up in his face. Is it the Venge swap out that you're worried about? Like, why wouldn't Icy Axe be ideal for their 4th pick? Because in the end, they give it away to LGD, and now Slark is going to be under the gun.
You know, the only real thing that I can say is that they've got an SF plus 2 greedy supports who both want Blink Dagger. That jungle is going to be pretty saturated. You know, you're going to be constantly exhausting that jungle over and over and over again. So maybe they feel like we need an offlaner who doesn't utilize jungle at all, who is independent of jungling in order to be a presence in the game. So maybe they go for something Phoenix, Clockwork, one of those kind of independent heroes that can actually jungle. But I agree with you. I think that Axe still would have been a strong pickup despite the fact that they do have, I mean, the 2 supports can roam around. They don't really need the jungle. It's mainly the SF who really is going to exhaust the jungle.
I think it's a fair point, though, that is going to be a limited amount of farm on the map early, and everybody's going to want something out of it. So we'll see how the item progression works out. But where do you go for the offlane for Icy now? I mean, he loves Centaur, and that's not too bad against, like, Bristle Sniper, but it's not that great against Axe. Obviously, we saw the Tide previously, but that's been banned out. Now the Timbersaw is taken off the table.
Ooh, Earthshaker offlane.
Yeah. I guess that's going to be their course of action. It's not too bad. Definitely has a lot of potential in the early stages, and he can get the chain stun on the Sniper if he wants to. Like, just blink in and go enchant totem right on top of them, and yeah, they'll get their initiation that way. But how do you feel about the AA? Do you think it's going to really give them that much more to their team fight?
Yeah, I think this is a pretty important pickup. Bristleback and Axe, the Ancient Apparition, gets a lot of value here. I think that generally this was such a smart decision by HGT because I think Earthshaker offlane is actually pretty damn viable. I think it's exactly what they needed, which is a hero that's kind of independent of jungle. Earthshaker can actually jungle. I learned this from Jenkins recently. If you go for Backstab Aftershock, I doubt that's going to be what we're seeing here. But generally the offlane Earthshaker is pretty independent of jungle. He just Fisher blocks and picks up the CS underneath tower, and it is the faster Blink Dagger that we wanted to see up against the Sniper, and maybe even early enough to really threaten some of the other heroes such as Axe and Bristleback, you know, before they pick up their big tank items. So, and Mirana last pick though for LGD, an interesting one to be sure. I haven't seen a whole lot of Mirana lately. What do you think, please?
If she just roams intelligently, she's going to be able to get a couple of kills here and there. Even if she just gets 1 kill in the SF, like, that completely skews that entire talk we had about Shadow Fiend versus Sniper. Like, just one good kill, and the momentum of the lane swings. And later on, she's going to have great setup. The Magic Missile, maybe even swap into Arrow. Like, you can just Arrow the Venge, and then she'll swap somebody into it. The final thing, of course, is that once the Blink is online for Axe, like, that is going to be some dunks coming out for him. So, overall, I like it. It's also one of the few things you can actually call a ground target disable against Slark on such an active roaming hero, but we'll see them square off for now. Looks like neither one wants to really go into this, though.
Yeah, here, as LGD, I mean, as only a 3-man force, you really shouldn't be tempting fate like that.
So close, but
yeah. No. Up against it, like the fact that you have Earthshaker and Ancient Apparition, like just that by itself should tell you, no. You don't go into the enemy jungle because what if they're 5-manning? Like, there's no way you win that engagement. That's for sure. Even
they want to get the ward
down.
Would be is what they're trying to do. They're trying to find a time window where they can block off this pull, and Jiawei does get there unscathed. So they say, okay, now they're going for the banner rune. Now we make our move, and it is going to be blocked off at least for a couple minutes here.
Yeah, they don't actually have, especially with the banner rune being picked up by the SF, they have no counter ward to be able to stop that. So, despite the fact that they were kind of zoning him out for LGD eventually, those heroes have to move back to lane. They have to get that bounty rune. The Earthshaker has to head up to the top lane. So I guess it does work out for LGD. And
is Kaka going to babysit him to kind of skew that early game that we were talking about? The Shadow Fiend versus the Sniper. It looks like Kaka's just going to hang out here and allow Air to get his souls up.
SF isn't, or rather Lion, isn't particularly strong in the babysit mid situation, but I suppose if it's necessary, as Siler still picks up 2 denies, and the third last hit doesn't actually go up. No! Bottom lane, CSMJ. He got caught out by an arrow, it seems. Magic Missile, and they quickly get the kill. So miss out on first blood. Bottom lane, HGT are the first to give that one up. Another aggro tri-lane, though, for the Chinese scene, this time in the hands of LGD.
Yeah, it had to be a Fog Arrow, because you can always pounce away from the Magic Missile if you're not disabled, but... wait, I'm seeing it. No, I'm looking at the combat log, and he was actually stunned by Magic Missile first, so he just didn't pounce it.
Joey! He missed it! Oh, they got the stun to lead, but he missed the arrow. Oh, a bit of a misclick there. That could have been a second kill for LGD. But, yeah, I guess Lark maybe just didn't... CSMJ didn't expect the Magic Missile
well,
I'm
sure he expected it, but like he probably thought, okay, this is just not as threatening as it could be. He probably didn't expect the chain stun. Maybe didn't see the Mirana. Was like, okay, watch out for Mirana mid, guys. And then as soon as he gets missiled, he probably had the option of dodging it and didn't think it was worth the pounce. But obviously, it cost him his life, and it's going to slow down his farm a decent bit.
Siler still dominating the mid lane, 7-4. How's that top lane going? Earthshaker versus the Bristleback, 10-4 on Yao. They do have a 5-0 Icy, so obviously the Bristleback is going to win pretty heavily versus the Earthshaker. But it's kind of similar to the setup that we saw from last game with Yao on the Tidehunter. You just kind of need to get your basics. You're going to lose the lane, but as long as you still get Blink Dagger, you're fine with however the lane goes, pretty much.
Yeah, overall, I agree with that. Obviously, he needs to get a magic stick up, and then he's also worried about the fact that he has only 3 armor. So there's going to be some dive potential, just kind of quill walking under the tower, but that's because mostly HGT is occupied bottom. They can't really afford to TP top to deal with a Bristle when they have this Axe, Mirana, and sometimes Venge combo down their throats.
Yeah, but this pretty much means that HGT are going to be down in every single lane. You could already see that in the CS lead. Air is definitely not doing too hot versus Siler. He's gotten a little bit better since the Lion left, but he's still going to be struggling, especially over time. Though maybe they're actually going to go on to him with all the Chilling Touch. They will be able to get that kill, and now they could potentially go for 2 as ZSMJ is going to try and get Zhao 8, but he's already made a leap away, and he's good. So 1-2. And they trade off a support for technically the core in lane for LGD. Successful fight for HGT.
This is actually an okay lane, honestly, for HGT. Like, the ability to pounce Cold Feet makes it so that you can get some really good control against one target. And the Chilling Touch, it makes it so even Axe could seem squishy at times. Like, he has Stout Shield and the bonus armor from Berserker's Call, but when he's getting hit by Chilling Touch, he still drops pretty quickly. So, as long as, pretty hot will pop his Clarity, and I think they could get a kill. Ideally, pouncing the Mirana early, so, I mean, she's a hero that is designed to be at mid to long range, but...
Sorry, just the smoke up from Makaka and Maybe, and they run into each other, and of course, we do have the Bristleback diving the Earthshaker there in the top lane. Missed that one.
He didn't pop his stick. He has 7 stick charges. There's no excuse. Like, these are kills that shouldn't be happening. Like, he exhausted all of his mana for, like, a Fisher earlier when he got going on, and Maybe he's going to go in. They get the call, and a lot of damage from Siler.
Yeah, this is another kill that really should not happen. I mean, I was laughing because Lion ran into the Axe. They both smoked up there. Both were going for the kill on the middle lane, and they should have known. Well, there goes the Axe. Whoa, mispounced there. ZSMJ misses his opportunity for the quick kill on Zhao 8. They're still going to get the stun onto MMY and claim a return. Zhao 8 hexed up. They actually may be able to get another kill. Nope, leap out. And he is good. But yeah, I mean, the Axe was revealed, and HGT, I guess, figured, oh, well, he's not going to gank middle after his smoke has been popped like that, but he really did go for it. Kaka has another stun on a Zhao 8. This time they will claim the kill. HGT, I'm saying silly kills all over the place, man.
Yeah, it really is. Just overall, there's a lot of times where it's like, okay, if your leap's on cooldown, don't be on the lane. There's times where you have your Earthshaker 1v1 against Bristleback. Don't really try to force that CS too much. Yes, Enchant Totem allows you to get the creep kills, but is it worth it for the damage you receive in turn? And also Magic Stick is a pretty good item. But yeah, we're just going to see maybe kind of fall into like a kind of 4 position, like a 3/4 position. He's going to be jungling a bit here. He'll have another smoke. The Tranquil Boot's coming out, and this SF has to be quite wary.
It certainly does. I kind of like this idea from LGD, though. They start off with an aggro try. I think they should have like disengaged maybe a little bit sooner. Obviously, once the Axe died, they're like, okay, we can no longer win this lane. It's the level 3 Ancient Apparition. But I kind of generally like this idea because Mirana is one of those heroes who can be a pretty decent like 3.5 position. Making the transition and semi-carry later, but generally likes to be able to get some farm going into the mid-game. It's just the problem is you're usually roaming around and you end up falling behind in experience. So This really takes advantage of the laning phase as best as possible. It's kind of like having a greedy jungler, and that maybe just backs up to the jungle eventually. Icy is going to be run down here by maybe, and sure, they get
just
the
brings
call,
it right back to Siler. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I actually really like that.
They get a little bit of shrapnel damage, but is it going to be enough? Another shrapnel and a third one comes out. Yep, that is more than enough. I wasn't sure if he had that many shrapnel charges, but Icy does end up dying to the Assassinate. Now maybe he's like, well, hey, let's just go ahead and dive the tower for Pretty Hot. Sailor says, no, I'm not going to go for that. And maybe, oh man, that spin. That's so unfair. They should have gotten the kill on the Axe, and Ancient Apparition probably could have gotten away, but the last spin out ends up killing the Ancient Apparition before the Disable comes in.
Yeah, just a little bit of luck, but there are 3 sources of auto text coming in with the line in addition, so it is going to be just a nice little pick-me-up for the Axe, who's going to have an okay time Blink Dagger. But yeah, you were talking about this Mirana getting some farm here, only 7 CS, but she can put that to work. Do you think it's going to be like the full kind of supporty build where you go like a 4-staff on this Mirana to really help out your allies? I've seen Hand of Midas do some really good stuff because it's a hero that benefits more from levels than from like a lot of gold early. There's no one item that you can buy that's like, oh yeah, Mirana's the big thing now. So I like Midas on her, but I mean, what do you think?
I think Midas is a pretty strong pickup, especially since the 4-staff isn't going to get that much value out of the quick burst damage of HGT, and then on top of that, obviously, the pounce you can't get away from. So I kind of like the idea of the Midas if Xiao Wei can actually get it. But as we see, Bristleback now has come down to the bottom lane. Not sure if that's just because he wants to bully the Slark, especially since he still doesn't have level 6. Bottom, they do have a stun up on Kaka. The Icy intercepts with a Fissure, but now Kaka, well, maybe not Xiao Wei. I thought he was going to throw out the arrow in time. Turnaround there, and the Assassinate to finish up Kaka. They will get that 1 kill, and a secondary nice arrow. Icy is the second victim. I think Yao would have gotten that one anyway, but it's made that much easier by the sweet precision of the Mirana.
Yeah, just making some things happen across the map now. 8 kills for LGD, just showing what they can really accomplish with the right usage of spells.
He's just fearless. It's so hard as a Slark versus Bristleback when the Bristleback's got this big of an advantage. I mean, even once he hits level 6, sure, he'll regen up, but every single time he shows his face, Bristleback's going to take him down to half health, and he's going to have to spend a good 15 seconds out of vision to heal up again.
So right now they're on the right track for a very offensive mindset in terms of LGD. Right now we've got a Ring of Health in the Bristleback, and my question is that going to be Vanguard/Crimson, or is that going to be a pipe? Because the way I look at it is, if Axe or Bristleback picks up a pipe this game, HGT's damage is like cut in half.
Yeah, I really like the pipe here. Normally, like, I think Vanguard's exceptionally strong versus Slark, right? Because his damage, his right clicks are fairly minimal for most of the game. It's only until later on when he's got Scotty and he really starts ramping up essence shifts in games that he starts having enough damage that Vanguard block is minimal. But especially for the first 30 minutes of the game, I feel that the Vanguard is pretty good versus Slark and really mitigates his damage quite heavily, but there's just too much magic damage on the side of HGT. I would agree heavily with the pipe, especially up against an Ancient Apparition Ice Blast.
Yeah, the nice thing about this Vanguard that he just picked up, though, is that he is going to be able to farm the jungle a lot. Like, he can just kind of go full PvE mode, and he doesn't really have to worry about what's hitting him, because he blocks so much damage, regenerates plenty of it. So this is actually a farming tool in its own right on heroes like Axe and Bristleback, and it's going to be his item of choice. Next up will be, it looks like a Bassi, unless, just going to be like maybe a Vladimir's or something like that.
Yeah, he gets the casual cloak for now. Of course, the question of Vanguard or pipe, why not both? Could be that Yao tries to go for that pipe after. Not sure if he completes the Vlads or not, but it's a possibility that he goes for both items.
Yeah.
Do you think Crimson Guard, do you actually complete it here, or would you like to see it
Not
go
in
for
this
the
game.
pipe
There
first?
are plenty of games where I love it, but this is just one where it's like everybody's right-clicking, that's all.
Yeah. CSMJ, as I was saying, shows his face. Yao just beats his face in, and Yao has to go back to recover. So, LGD doing some heavy movement here with Zhao 8 and MMY.
The Ice Blast actually saw the smoke, so they back off as best they can. Nice offensive ward comes out, and they have a good flank if somebody eventually reveals himself, but they're going to have to wait a while.
So no defense of this tier 1 tower in the process. Since they know that smoke was there, they don't even try and rotate anybody up just yet. And seems like the tower will fall without being contested at all. They do have a Ice Blast heading down to bottom lane. They're going to get him too. Yao stunned up here. They also have the pounce with the double damage on ZSMJ. They can actually get this kill. Vanguard or no, or maybe they can't.
I don't know.
Good
They're not
God.
getting in front of him.
Oh, why did they
him,
get in front of
Oh.
Jesus? I mean, he's stunned up like that, and then you have the Hex. I don't know why they wouldn't try and get in front of him with that DD especially, but now Kaka's going to be found. It goes from bad to worse for HGT. Better cancel that TP because LGD are here in force.
Yeah, that's, I mean, perfect turnaround. Great timing for the Axe to unveil the blink, and he gets 1,000 gold on top of that. Jeez, he's just rocking it right now, getting so much for himself, and they just go for another smoke. I mean, nothing's going to reveal him at that particular point. There's going to be a nice Ice Blast come through, but no kills out of it, and they're just going to head back and recharge while 2 of them go on the gank train. So maybe it's going to build a lot of momentum here, and yeah, I really got to question the fact that the Slark didn't get the double damage right clicks actually on the front.
Isn't that adorable? Your son's already getting into commentating. Oh, it's just too
My
many.
co-caster.
It's too many feels right now. Oh, all right. 4 to 10. You gotta set him up with the Twitter.
Nice, yeah.
12 minutes in. We got 4 to 10. LGD are leading right now. Air may be looking for a gank here in the top lane. He's farming up the jungle, and they're just kind of patiently setting up for somebody to come through. But the problem is, it's going to be maybe an MMY coming in from behind. Pretty hot. He's going to be the first victim. They get off the Ice Blast on his Zhao 8, almost finishing him off. The race is not quite good enough. Pretty hot will fall to the Culling Blade, and now with that extra movement speed, they'll look for more. Swap, and now Air with no escape. He's going to be stuck. The Shrapnel should be another easy kill for LGD. This Culling Blade, all right, maybe. It's kind of the easiest blade of your life, but okay. Still, they do get it. And LGD just dominating this match so far.
Yeah. ZSMJ is going to try to play the long game here. He's going to go for a Hand of Midas for himself, but how long is it going to take before that really pays off? I mean, he'll be moving faster towards that 3rd point in Shadow Dance with the experience gains, and overall, like, I'd say 25, 30 minutes, he'll be like, yeah, I got some money right now, but I feel the problems are on the front end of this game. 13 minutes in, they're getting destroyed. I'm not saying the late game isn't a concern, but I would say that the current state of affairs needs to be addressed first and foremost.
They're going to try and go for Yao again. This time, he turns his back again. Kaka's trying to get in front of him in order to get the finger of death, but he couldn't get it. He still hit him in the back. Yao is dropping low. They almost bring him up, and he survives through the Ice Blast. Oh, my God. He gets away again. This build is just too strong, the Vanguard. And now Pretty Hot may actually die as Siler's coming in. And with the Shrapnel and Assassinate, another free pick off for LGD every single time. Let's gank that Bristleback. Let's shut down his farm, and it always goes poorly for HGT.
Yeah, this is just so brutal, and they keep on trying to focus on him. I mean, when he's by himself, I guess is the best time. He's the only one who's lending himself to a gank like that, but oh boy, that getting the Vanguard, the Casual Cloak, the Power Treads, every single item he's holding is just giving him that narrow amount of effective HP, and then his movements were really good there, always positioning himself so that he was at least getting the side mitigation, if not the full back.
Right.
And yeah, he's able to survive through against all odds. This is becoming a real issue for HGT.
He may land this stun, but it's still underneath the tier 2 tower. Calm down there, Zhao 8. Calm down. 4 to 13. They're going to take Roshan now. Again, as I was saying, if they win the laning phase, they've got a Bristleback. This is Viscous Nasal Goo plus another physical damage dealer. Roshan is an easy cleanup for LGD, and they're going to do it too before HGD get here with the smoke. So now HGT looks like they still want to maybe force a fight on this cliff. It could be a really good position to go. Oh, what an impale on 4! It's a Ravage. Icy. He throws down the Echo Slam. Didn't do much there, but it's still a win for LGD as they wipe out 4 and get the Aegis Carrier 2 quickly surround him. This is a huge win for HGT. All right, that ultimate, well, I guess it did still hit him, but not sure if it was necessary, but they kill the Axe as well.
Yeah, just completely stifle the momentum here. Look at the golden experience swing. 3,900 up on gold, 1,200 down for LGD, and 5,700 experience. HGT just cut the golden experience graphs in half.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what that gets them. They get the blink on the lion. The AA can go for a couple of items here. Earnest Shadows, probably pretty good. Can start working on either the Midas or the Agams if he wants to go for the mid to late play. Slark, like suddenly we were talking about, oh man, he's got Midas, he doesn't really have a lot, but now he's going to get maybe a kill on Zhao 8. TP is not going to come out in time with that last right click, and suddenly, ZSMJ, he's got 1,700 up for his next item.
He can get that mobility item if he wants to. Well, actually, do you go for the mobility item here, or do you think he needs to go straight stats? We sometimes have seen people go for the poor man Scotty, a.k.a. SNY, as a pickup on Slark. Because you can see, with these kind of initiations, he just doesn't stand a chance with such small HP pool. Assassinate on Nakaka? No, he's not going to go for it. Thought about just harassing that Lion, but despite the fact that LGD just had a huge loss in that team fight, they're still being aggressive as ever.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely lost a lot of their gold advantage, but that doesn't mean that like the items are there just yet for HGT. Now the Blink Lion, and I would say in a couple of minutes, HGT are going to be formulating some very threatening item sets. But for right now, it's Shadow Fiend and Lion are the big ones. That they AA is as dangerous as ever, but I don't see the Shaker making the initiation happen just yet, and they're going to have to follow through on a lot of chained up abilities. Axa on the high ground here with the Blade Mail. That's actually probably the impetus, the catalyst for action. I think that he's going to be able to get a nice pick, but yeah, Ice Blast scouts him out, so maybe not.
Tier 2 still going to fall, and oh boy. At this point, Sylar, what do you build as the sniper? You've got two really good frontline heroes in Axe and Bristleback, true like 2 big tanks in the Dota scene, and they're both really farmed up. Do you continue to go for an offensive build, or do you think he needs to go back for his BKB, knowing that these Blink Daggers are going to come up eventually?
Yeah, BKB and Mjolnir are both perfectly fine choices, but it really depends. It changes how HGT will play around him. If he goes for Mjolnir, he's the focus by far. Like, they will just gun him down, ignoring Yao completely. If he goes for the BKB, then it's 2 targets they have to worry about. They actually just do it.
That's exactly what you want to see right there. The Blink Dagger coming into force. Air is going to be stopped. And again, the missile, arrow, follow-up, air. Way too aggressive there. That should have been just a simple, quick, clean pick-off on the sniper, which stops the push on the tier 2 tower. But Air thought they could go for more. The problem is HGT, the rest of the team didn't agree and couldn't follow up as quickly from that Blink Dagger. So now LGD right back to pushing that tier 2 where they really shouldn't have been able to before.
Yeah, I mean, the Blink on building the Lion really expertly, but yeah, losing the SF just makes it an even loss as far as fight potential, and the tier 2 will be fallen in the hands of LGD. So that gives the BKB to the Bristleback, and Sniper will be able to make his next pick very soon. But I would say, yeah, just go BKB on Sniper if you're confident in being able to use BKB against the Lion Hex anyways. If you expect to get hexed with or without BKB, it's not that useful of a pickup. But if you think you're quick on the trigger like Sylar generally is, then I think that it's probably the best way to proceed into the next stage of the game. And like, he's got so much damage. I mean, the Bristleback's paving the way for that really, really nicely. Oh, Sylar, right? In a 1v1 against DSMJ, no TP. He just TP'd down bottom.
The arrow's gonna come in. Oh no! They actually get the kill still on the sniper, but ZSMJ will be cleaned up, and now they're gonna go for more here. As Kaka is going to be the next target of Yao and MMY coming in from the side to slow him down the call, and they'll easily get the Culling Blade running in for more. They know Pretty Hot's nearby, and they're actually going to try and go for him. They have the Ice Blast on the Axe. Are they really going to be able to run him down? Blink up in a second. Oh, Pretty Hot actually dodges that, but he's still out of the fire. Straight into the oven, man.
Earthshaker could have done something there, I'm sure. He was out of mana and TP'd back home. I feel like if he had just been quicker.
Yeah, he probably could have blocked out the bristleback at the very least and kind of locked maybe inside the base, but oh, he just sits on his side. At least he's got Blink Dagger, but now another Tier 2 being taken by LGD. Sure, there was a moment of reprieve where HGT won this amazing fight right here thanks to a 4-man impale from the Lion. In fact, that was a better impale than I think we saw Ravages from Yao all game long. From game 1, man, that was such an amazing play, but it still wasn't enough to get them back into this game. LGD still strong enough. They never really truly had a lead even after that fight. It was still a 5,000 gold lead for LGD, and they have since recovered ever since that team fight in gold. Not necessarily in experience, but they have recovered in gold.
So, answering a few of our questions here, Mirana's going to be going for a build that involves Tread, Magic Wands, and the mechanism. So kind of just leaping in, getting the heal off as needed. Bristleback and Axe are very, very destructive when they don't have to worry about their health pool too much, and extra armor, extra HP, maybe saving Sniper. All this is going to work very far in their favor. There's a Mithril Hammer on Sylar now, and I don't believe that's a Dezo, so should be that BKB that we were talking about, just going for the offensive component first. Finally, Slark, ZSMJ, he's going to be going for that Shadow Blade. Looking for a pick in the Dire Jungle. Looks like he will not find anything until he rotates mid.
I don't know how I feel about this mech build from Mirana. I'd normally be okay with it. It's still like a mana pool issue for Mirana for sure.
With Intreads, I think she'll be okay.
Yeah.
But she has to Intreads with every spell cast and every mech usage.
True. I would be okay with it if it was just the mana issue, right? You're dealing with an ancient apparition.
Yeah.
Those heals. Yeah, I mean, it's a little less incentive for you to go for something like mech. It's still. I can still see the point of it. I can still be okay. That's nice. But personally, in that position, I'd be like, mana problems, ancient apparition. I wouldn't have thought to go for that item. But LGD, they think they'll still manage to make it work even up against the Ice Blast, and to be fair, they certainly have enough sustainability that they can outlive the Ice Blast, most of them anyway, and then they can get the mech off afterwards.
Yeah, Sark's actually going to find the Sniper here. The Ice Blast won't be on the mark, but that Masked Man is active, and it's not going to be fast enough for him to actually escape. It should be a kill against him. The ultimate does come through, though, and they can't get the slows. He gets the haste rune, too. Jeez. Or bottles it at least, but yeah, so they're able to just get the easy pick off and waste a lot of time for the LGD supports. They're just kind of running through, trying to find that jump, and it looks like they'll be unsuccessful. So yeah, that's where the Sniper needs to get a little bit tankier and maybe always have somebody nearby with a disable. But what was that? Yeah, so we were talking about the mechanism. The Ice Blast definitely makes it a little more difficult, but his other alternative, which would be Force Staff, if you're trying to prevent deaths, which is generally what you want to do with the rubber band on the table, is you probably want to go for Force Staff, but against the Pounce, that's going to lock you in pretty hard. So even when you get hexed, the Pounce will follow through, and then you can't really save that person either. I still think it would probably be better than Mech. I agree that there's just a few too many issues with it, but I can see that it'll probably work out in a couple of team fights.
12 to 18, 23 and a half minutes in. A BKB soon for Sylar. Another BKB is going to be on the battlefield as well. I believe Air is probably going to build a BKB after his mech. Pretty essential versus, well, I suppose it's not. I guess it's not necessary this game. No, like normally the build is just mech BKB, mech BKB. I've seen that enough. I've repeated it enough that I just naturally am saying BKB. But I suppose this match, there's only so many disables. There's very little magic damage, but he's still gonna go for it.
Yeah. So I mean, I actually have to question it. Like you said, it's a natural progression for SF in general, but in the context of this game, it's actually pretty poor. You stop a magic missile, you stop some sniper spells. You stop an arrow if you want to tank that up. If he goes ahead, man modes on an arrow by BKBing and like taking the bullet for an ally, I'll say it's a cool pickup. But otherwise, you're still not going to really guarantee your Requiem when you get the Berserkers on you, when you get the Nether Swap, as we saw used on top lane. Yeah, it's still going to be a preventative thing. So I would have preferred to see just like an AC or some raw HP.
What about a Manta? I mean, Magic Missile is one of the few abilities that you actually need to, one of the few disables you need to deal with. You just got the Manta Pop. It's a pretty decent sustain, like decent stat item. Then you can go straight for Scotty after that, and just raw stats on the SF. Try and take up through that. You know,
Sure.
I
The
think
illusions are pretty worthless against this
true.
team.
That's true.
Giving X more spins, giving of course the Maelstrom procs as well as the sprays like that. The illusions won't do anything, but the active component as well as the HP, I don't think it's too bad for sure. Yeah. Oh well, he's gone for it. We'll see what he can, if he can even manage to find another item. But there's a chance that LGD try to just take down a lane with this Roche cycle. Aegis is up on Sniper, and that means that Lion can't just win them the defense with just a single finger of death.
Speaking of the Lion, I hope he gets his force staff soon because he's going to need it if they want to continue to make those kind of plays like he had earlier. He's definitely going to need the force staff to blink in, pop the sniper with finger death and ice blast, and then force staff the hell out of there. And maybe he can actually kill the Aegis for free and not be punished for it. But he kind of needs that extra mobility item.
That is really tough. I mean, the Venge is 11. The Axe has a lot of ways to just lock on somebody. But yeah. There's the gold. I mean, he does spend by the Ring of Health, so he's actually floating a lot of reliable right now for 41. But maybe he actually popped a 10-second BKB for it. I'm not saying that's worth it because Axe doesn't need like his BKB to more than 6 or 7 seconds. But yeah, it's something. We'll go see the high ground push. The Aegis is up, and if they just slow siege this should be pretty clear cut to at least take the tier 3.
So Shadow Blade is the item for ZSMJ. Has another 3k gold, but it's nowhere near close enough. I mean, even Scotty at this point in time, you would still kind of question, okay, is the Slark really going to have impact in these team fights versus Bristleback and Axe? But at least it would be a high amount of stats that would actually be able to get him those Essen shift charges as he survives through the fight, and going later on into the fight, he'll start wrecking. But as it stands right now, the Slark is still a non-factor pretty much. He can maybe jump Sylar and pop him, but he'll immediately be punished. It's going to be on Air to do most of this damage. Echo Slam, but Sylar popped the BKB! Oh no, Icy's not going to get anything out of that one. Meanwhile, Air's like, look at me, Sylar, look at me, but he doesn't care.
Oh,
he's focusing on the supports. Now that the swap out, Sylar is going to go down. He loses the Aegis, but it doesn't matter. 2 heroes, well, 1 hero really out for LGD as Sylar comes back thanks to that Aegis. And it's all up against an Ancient Apparition. Buyback's already getting laid down. They want this tower, tier 3 tower, and they will get it. In fact, they're still going to go forward. I figured they would back up 2 buybacks like that, but they may still try and force
Fisher's the only wild card here until Lion comes back, so they have a few seconds here. They're going to get some damage on the racks, but they should fall back before they finish it. Are they actually going to commit? They have damage. They have Mask of Madness. They're popping it. This is a big commitment here, and it could be punished. The melee racks will fall, but can they get some turnaround kills? Slark buying back. Lion respawning, TPing forward. Sylar on the run, juking around the tree line, and Kaka blinking on him in just 2 seconds.
Yeah, Bristleback might actually go down as well. They need the last couple of nukes. They will end up getting that kill on the sniper. Looks like MMY is going to go down as well. ZSMJ will be able to run him down. Oh, maybe Kaka. He's got the Hex up, so they'll definitely get this kill. Back over to Yao, who's still fighting up against Icy and Air, but he eventually does go down. So you're right. LGD stick around for that melee racks, and they do get punished pretty heavily. It cost HGT a lot, though. That was 3 different buybacks in order to finally win that fight. But considering the fact that they're already down and out anyway, they do get a pretty good gold and experience jump from those last couple of kills.
Yeah, if LGD just walked there, they get tier 3, they get 2 buybacks, and it's just a straight win. With the fact that they stayed and got the melee racks, it's a long-term win, and current kind of even. But Air gets jumped on.
Nice
no
intercept.
Arrow through, though. Icy's right on Zhao 8. He can't arrow.
Yeah, that was beautiful. The Ice Blast is going to come in. Air is fighting up against Maybe. They get the Ice Blast on Maybe, but he's still full health. Air trying to blink ahead of Maybe like that. That was a beautiful interception by AC. You called it out perfectly. The Fisher to stop the arrow and then blinking on and getting the Enchant Totem as well, making sure there was no chain stun on Air whatsoever. That should have been a pickoff, I think. But because of Icy's great reaction to the Mirana's positioning, they managed to save Air, but that's still HGT, holding on to this game like, yeah, you survived. But is survival really enough at this point in time? It's only 30 minutes into this game. You still have another good 10 minutes of, I think, sheer domination for LGD's lineup. And even past that, if they hold on to a net worth lead, the late game, like I'm talking 45, 55 minutes, LGD can still have the advantage for sure. It's only once we start going super late game that we start reconsidering that to the favor of HGT.
Yeah, Slark has some real potential. He doesn't even have like a real cap, honestly. He has some a capability of going and carrying this game entirely on his shoulders. ZSMJ, we've seen him do plays like that in the past, but right now he's only at 11,000. So until he's like at the 20,000 net worth mark, he's not really going to be that kind of a hero. He's going to be still just kind of going for quick picks, trying to build up farm, and yeah, he has a long road ahead of him if they're going to be able to take this late. And it looks like LGD, they're just trying to end it now. They go bottom, they have a lot of BKBs. Oh, that's a lot of present tense items. They're like, okay, we go in now, we pop a cooldown that gets weaker and weaker, but as long as we win the current scenario, as long as we take the racks now, HGT won't have a late game to look forward to.
Yep. So LGD going for what could be a death push here. HGT, no buybacks, or at least none that really mattered too much. Actually, no buybacks. They do have the supports who are down enough in gold that they can't afford buybacks either. So at this point in time, all it takes is LGD to win one fight in this game is pretty much over. And if they manage to just siege down the tier 3 and maybe even get like the melee racks or even just the range racks, it'll still be a huge win there as well. But LGD will actually back up, reconsidering, go back to farming up the jungle. They do have some time to wait for the next Roshan.
Sure.
But
that will allow them to get the buybacks, though. It's not really that big of a concern, because even if they get the buybacks off cooldown and they have gold for it, the worst case scenario there is the enemy buys back, which means you just got them to buy back to back on cooldown, and that takes a huge amount out of their coffers. They're not able to really invest in the item progression, and you're still detracting from their overall game situation. But yeah, it is meaning that they're not going to be able to end the game here within 5 minutes, but they're okay with stretching this one a little bit, get Zhao 8 the Pipe of Insight, and from that point become near immortal on a couple of these heroes.
Yeah, and then they've got also the Assault Cuirass. It's going to be picked up on the Bristleback, which will be a huge upgrade. Those two different auras, or rather the active of the pipe and then the armor increase aura from the AC. I mean, how are you going to kill a hero like Maybe, who's already so tanky with BKB and tons of armor to his own? I'm guessing Shiva's for Maybe, right? He goes for Shiva's, Yao goes for the Assault Cuirass.
Yeah, definitely one of them has to. I think that Shivas is really good against Slark, and that they should be looking for it pretty soon. Obviously, the plate mail indicates that. So I guess, yeah, Yao, he can hit harder, so he should be hitting faster. He'll go for the AC.
Let's see, what other items do we have on the side of HGT? Pretty Hot isn't really that close to Aghanims. He's getting close to the halfway marker, but it's still going to be a long road, especially since he doesn't have anywhere to farm up. He's mainly just relying on Midas Gold at this point and Tick Gold. Air has himself the first ultimate orb and can almost afford the second one for the Scotty route, and that's what we're going to be seeing, right? I don't think there are any other options.
I think SF goes Scotty here. Yeah, we do see a nice little notification onto the Bristle. He gets swapped out, though, so easy kill on the Venge, but yeah, walks.
Yep, good save from the Vengeful Spirit. That's going to be pretty much the whole entire game for him, MY. Swapping out in that situation to save the Bristleback, but most of the time it's going to be the Sniper who he's going to be looking to saving. So, 1 minute until Roche. LGD, yeah, the pick off on the Vengeful Spirit kind of sucks, but HGT aren't really gaining a definitive advantage because Roshan will be up after the Vengeful Spirit spawns.
Yeah, so one thing I want to note real quick is if you look at the experience graph, it's actually been up and down quite a bit. And most of the time, other than the couple of turnarounds that HGT have been able to perform in rare instances this game, it really comes down to the 2 Midas advantage. Although they're not farming the map as effectively as LGD, they still have 2 Midases that the enemy does not. So Slark and Ancient Operation get to build up their experience pool, and Slark's actually hit level 18. He and Shadowfiend are up there as the 2 highest heroes, and Shadowfiend mostly because he lived through the key fights, but we're seeing initiation down bottom.
Yeah, they actually get a lot of damage shown to his face, but unfortunately couldn't chain the disables now. Zhao 8 is going to be target of a Hex and blown up by the Finger of Death. They look for more. The gem is on the ground. Somebody pick it up. And the swap out, DSMJ is going to give up his life for trying to get the gem and drops his bottle. Oh, dear. That is no bueno here for HGT rather. LGD is going to find another pick off on Icy. as he could not get himself away. And then on the far left, Air is actually being chased down by maybe looks like another kill. As they get the call, Yao is now here as the BKB fades. That is going to be a whole bunch of goo, icky sticky on Air, that will be able to chase him out as well.
Oh, he gets
oh my god. All right, well, the double ultimate at least gets the axe kill. That's something.
So it's interesting. LGD are not going for Roche here. They are just going to go straight for the base. They see the creeps are in mid. Backdoor protection is down. I'll give you vision. Siler, you can just wail away at this tier 3. If they take down the tier 3, the rack should follow suit pretty quickly. But not going for Roche means they are actually looking to end this game now. Double buyback could be a huge mistake. They're only 3, and now it's 3 against 3.
Yeah, they have dust on a Siler quickly. I was going to try and take him out. They do have the BKB that's going to be active to save him. Lion does die to the axe. In the meantime, MMY focused by Air, not quite good enough. CSMJ gotta catch up, but Siler, he's away with that invisibility now revealed, but Siler's already too far away. I don't think he's going to make it back. Air versus Yao. The 1v1 man fight goes on. Ice Blast coming out, but Yao blinks first. He will back up away from that one. Oh no, Siler's going to be caught still. CSMJ finally catches him. And with the Ice Blast running over, back over to this left fight, Icy locking down Yao, trying to get the fight. The explosion of the SF gets the kill on the Bristleback, but they lose that carry nonetheless. Zhao 8, he's going to be the next kill up here. He does not have leap for another 6 seconds, so easy pick up there for Icy. In the end, LGD do get rebuffed. Once again, it cost them the buyback and death of the SF, but well worth it, especially since ZSMJ got another kill and can maybe start building towards that Scotty. That kill on the sniper was some form of a recovery, but the problem is it wasn't enough of a win. HGT won't be able to take enough control of this map to, say, take on Roshan or something like that.
I really can't call either one of their moves a win there. I mean, obviously, it's better than LGD just taking a free Roshan. The fact that they go down bottom, they do wipe out. But again, they force out 2 buybacks. Slark and Shadow Fiend exhausting a lot of their funds, and obviously a very important cooldown. And he kind of makes up for that with the sniper kill. Like it draws even again, and
yeah,
it's really interesting just how they're expending one resource to pick up another. And in the end, LGD, they're kind of getting just stopped in their tracks. They have the potential to end the game with each Roche cycle, and every single time they make a questionable decision that costs them a temporary advantage. Like, they still long-term have this game, but it keeps on stretching out, and it keeps on giving new opportunities for HGT.
Yep, so the fight maintaining the status quo, which was LGD with the advantage, are going to be able to take the Roshan, Aegis, and Cheese. This last fight, I mean, they've drawn it out. HGT have been able to battle through, but this is going to be the toughest fight of all. If they can somehow overcome this one, I don't care what it costs them, but if they could just survive through this next fight, it could be HGT making the comeback, but it's going to be a big, big ask, man, with Aegis and Cheese. Assault Curats on the axe, actually, and it's going to be Yao, I guess, who's forced into the Shiva. It's very odd.
Whoever can get it first.
True.
You want the AC here, so whoever can get it first. You get the combo of the Wave of Terror max with the AC, maybe with some VNG, and that's going to be a lot of negative armor. I'm curious if the Fisher actually comes out vertically here to stop the creep wave and delay it that way. So they can set up the Ice Blast from a distance, or if AA is going to hold this current position. Pretty How's really far forward here for an Aghanim's AA.
Oh, to jump in here from Air, but he's already been called up by maybe. Echo Slam gets laid up, and the BKBs are already the response. The Ice Blast lands well, but it's still the cores of LGD looking strong, blocking up ZSMJ. He's forced to go upwards, and LGD missing out on the call there. Unfortunately, Pretty Odd, though, it's going to be quickly cleaned up, and now it's just Slark pretty much versus the World Kaka. Not much he can really do anymore. He's still got the finger of death, but GG is called. HGT know that they no longer have the power to deal with Aegis and Cheese. LGD will win this series 2-0 up against HGT.
And what an iconic way to start off that fight. Just MMY sacrificing himself once again. Just jump in, get the SF into a terrible position, and make it so there isn't even a fight. The SF buyback was on cooldown. That swap out just makes it a clean victory. There was no ifs, ands, or buts about that fight. That was LGD claiming a nice, easy win and making it a 2-0.
So well played by LGD. I think it gives small amounts of hope for HGT. I mean, we saw their strength in Game 1 in the draft and that early game advantage they were able to get to themselves. This Game 2, you got to give respect to the fact that they held on for so long. LGD were always the dominant player in there, and it was just like, oh, now they have a little bit less of a lead, you know. But HGT did kind of just cling on to this game. If you could just couple those things, you know, the long duration play of Game 2 from HGT and the early game advantage, you know, that would actually spell a win versus LGD. So you see parts of success for HGT, not utter domination. They don't just get completely rolled over, but it's still LGD who definitely remain the dominant team here, as shown by the 2-0 victory. So that brings us to a close for the day, actually. That's right. We're all done enjoying Dota. Surprisingly enough, we've had these days that start at 9 and end at midnight, but tonight there is no ESL. There is no other tournaments, so that is going to be it. Tomorrow, though, we do have more D2CL. We hope you tune in. Durka will be casting that. We also have right now, I believe Baseskip is currently doing the Corsair Gaming Arena that is on Join Dota Blue. I hope you guys go check that out. In fact, I'll even host it just so you know to head on over there. Tomorrow we have D2CL plus the Corsair Gaming Arena again, and then ESL starts at 17, which I will be casting. So hope you guys join us for all of that. Of course, big shout out to Blaze. Blaze, man, I gotta say, pretty pessimistic about most of my casting lately, but I think you brought out the best in both of us for today. Last time we casted together, the synergy was not there. I think that was on me. Great cast, buddy. Glad you joined me. You got any shout-outs?
Well, shout out to my son. He contributed his own part, I suppose. But,
That's what it was. Your son came in. He was my little lucky charm.
Awesome. But yeah, no, it's great casting with you, and just great observing these games. I mean, just seeing LGD in action gives me high hopes for their future. We'll see what Eastern Dota and what Chinese Dota holds, but it's been really fun casting, and catch you later, man.
All right. See you later, Blaze. At Dota Capitalist, at Blaze Casting, we're out for the day, guys. See you tomorrow on the live stream.